It's Ghana month. Good morning and welcome to the morning news here on Newday. My name is George Quinn, and coming up in the next 30 minutes, kidnapping survivor now suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder. Two persons are feared dead in a Gori lorry accident Sunday afternoon at Lalonyo near Accra in the Isujam district of the Eastern region. Another earth tremor has hit Accra barely 2 months after a similar occurrence. And on the foreign front, the substantive progress China and the United States have made in their trade talks has been well received in both countries. Amando. And join us for details of these and many more. On to our very first story. She has been a victim of kidnapping situation on 3 occasions. After several years of not seeking psychological help, she lives in fear and now suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder, that's PTSD. At the height of the unending public conversation on kidnappings, Wendy Laye brings you the story of a survivor.
Her first ordeal would have been ignored, if not for the 2 other incidents. Like Abena, not her real name, many people are not even aware they're in a vulnerable situation and easy prey for kidnapping. Abner's first ordeal happened in 2005. She joined the public transport after work, which developed a mechanical problem at Dansoman Blue Lagoon. So she beckoned the taxi. It was after the thought over the occupants, where the taxi driver chose to park, and the words uttered, that she knew she almost got kidnapped.
I was asking the driver like how much he would take and stuff. But he was insisting that the money is not even necessary. I should just get into the car, the passenger side. So the car was too dark. So the driver was trying to put on the lights in the car. I saw that there were 3 people at the back of the vehicle. So the car was already full. There was one at the front, there's a driver, and there's 3 men at the back. So I told him, the car is already full. So why will you tell me to enter the car? And then the one at the front said, oh, oye balok. He said in Trinidad, oye balok. So, tuna yonko. So they just sped up.
But her sense of consciousness soon gave in, and she returned almost to a normal life. Then, a second kidnapping.
It was in 2007. I'd gone to the training with my best friend, and we had closed around 5:30 p.m. I don't know whether I stopped the car or it was my friend who stopped the car. So the car had gone to park some meters away. But I was on a phone call. I was talking to somebody. So my attention wasn't on the people in the car. So I just went to sit down in the middle, and then my friend joined me, and the car was full. Just a few meters away from where we took the car, I had a slap from my back. But I thought it was the car which was involved in an accident. So I was just shouting, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And then one guy sitting beside me said, Jesus, Wayne. We were just shouting. They were shouting at us not to shout. We should keep quiet. And then the other guy, just sitting at my left-hand side, puts me on his lap. He just slapped me, was just slapping me, beating me here and there. And then the one at the front seat, the passenger seat, also shifted his seat in front, and then came to squat behind the seat in front of my friend. And then he was also holding on to my friend, putting my friend's head down. They asked me to remove my trousers. I took it off. They put my head in the trouser, and they used the other leg to tie my head. And then my friend was in a straight dress, tied her head. When they pulled us out, we fell just at the edge of a gutter. They had already taken our phones, our monies, our jewelry.
And then the third.
It happened in 2008. I had gone to escort a friend. So I picked a taxi that was going towards Sobolo, that stadium where I live. There was a very fast, sharp light that threw into the car. And then I realized that the people in the car, there were 4 men. And I was the only lady. And the one at the front had this big hammer that the Masons used for shouting on top of my voice that my money is with that guy. So I just opened the door and then got down.
I asked whether it was coincidence or negligence.
Sometimes I think it's negligence on my part. Before that, I used to even blame myself that I didn't check well. But if I checked all those things, I could have seen those signs and maybe not enter the car. And then sometimes too, I think it's coincidence that it happens to only me all the time.
For most victims who suffer kidnappings and abuse, it is a difficult story to share, and less a trouble one seeks therapy for. She noted, seeking psychological help was never really an option. Out of curiosity, I suggested a visit to a psychologist to ascertain the effects the kidnapping situations may have had on her. She agreed to avail herself for treatment if the option was available. We headed to the Department of Psychiatry at the Komfanoche Teaching Hospital. Head of Department, Dr. Ruth Owusu-Enchi, met us.
Welcome.
She had her first session with Dr. Owusu-Enchi, who later had a conversation with me.
He has a lot of symptoms that point to the fact that something has gone wrong. If probably she had come earlier, she would have escaped all these things. Her trust level has really gone down. She lives in fear almost every time. Definitely she needs to go through some form of clinical psychotherapy, and that is exactly what I'm going to do for her.
She expressed worry about the state of survivors of kidnappings.
We are not taking it serious just because we are not aware of the impact some of these things have on victims. And so I would put the blame on just illiteracy. We just don't know. And so that is how come we are not doing the right things. And it's about time we educated ourselves so that we give the right kind of help as a nation to victims.
The police service has assured the public of its readiness to deal with the crime, requested public support and time. Security analyst Adib Sani said he doubts the police service showing enough commitment in dealing with kidnapping issues.
The investigation regime is quite porous. The investigation regime really has to be worked on, and one of the ways that can be done is for us to have a database. You see someone committing crime in Accra, he's caught, prosecuted, incarcerated, released. He goes to commit the same crime in Tamale, and nobody seems to have that database, and I think it's worrying.
In the face of public hysteria due to new cases coming into the media domain, due to social media, people will have to be more conscious about their environment than they usually are. If you or someone you know has suffered from a kidnapping situation, please get help. Call the Mental Health Authority on 050-991-4046. Wendy Lai, TV3 News.
And now 2 persons are feared dead in a Gori lorry accident Sunday afternoon at Lolonyo near Accra Day in the Sujam district of the Eastern region. 2 others are in critical condition.
The accident was reported to have happened around 4:30 Sunday afternoon. The deceased were part of passengers commuting from Sokode near Ho in the Volta region. Surviving members' accounts indicate that the driver, who was on top speed, was beckoned by a female passenger to stop so she could pass out water. The driver, in an attempt to stop, burst his back tire, after which he lost control. The bus with registration number GX 301913 somersaulted a couple of times, leading to the death of the 2 and injuring others. Oh God! A Kia truck driver offered to convey the victims to the hospital. Both the driver and his mates were nowhere to be found.
And to the Ashanti region, the Ghana Highways Authority says repair works would soon begin on portions of the Konongo section of the Kumasi-Accra Highway, which face possible cave-in. The gully along the Akrante-Sepa stretch is believed to have started about 10 years ago and has now developed into a ditch threatening motorists and residents. And here's a report by Benjamin Edu.
Continuous erosion along shoulders of the Kumasi-Accra Highway has created deep gullies now extending into the main road, posing serious danger to road users. 4 spots requiring urgent repairs have been identified between the Konongo and Odumasi portion of the highway. Ashanti Regional Director of the Ghana Highways Authority, Engineer Christian Inti, says work will soon commence as contract has been awarded to fix the problem. The road will be temporarily closed to traffic due to the structural defects. A big gully has been detected beneath the asphalted surface, which poses a serious threat to road users. As part of the repair works, some residential structures on the stretch have been earmarked for demolition. Engineer Inti appealed for public cooperation as the authority works to mitigate the plight of motorists and residents.
So once they stay there, we have a gentleman agreement that anytime we are ready to come and get the road done, you just take your container and then you give us way.
He also spoke about the state of other road projects in the Ashanti region.
The KNUSC runabout Inudium project, which is being done by Joshop on the main Accra-Kumasi highway, is the removal of the runabout, converting to a signalized interchange, and the work is ongoing. We're expecting that by May, June, contractors should be winding up.
And if you're just tuning in, you're watching news here on Newday. And another earth tremor has hit Accra barely 2 months after a similar occurrence. And the moderate earthquake happened at about 11:28 p.m. on Saturday. Aisha Yakubu has more.
Earth tremor was felt in areas including Weija and McCarthy Hill. The tremor was also felt by residents in areas like Ablikuma, Kaswa, Madina, Christian Village, Oyarefa, North Kaneshi, Sotuom, Abelengbe, and Legon, among other surrounding areas. Some residents at Christian Village and its environs shared with the news team what happened.
Oh, no, my dad said I was
I experienced it last night, but it has happened severally, so I wasn't really scared.
Now, I'm a move, but my dream was say as also.
Andra, you were them, Anna. My brother was so open and said, "Hey, Monty said, Danny baby boo."
I was asleep when my brother came banging on the door that he felt the room was collapsing. It was really scary. I felt it. I felt it. It shook my room. It scared me so much, and I'm just a young guy who just started life and not ready to die. So this kind of thing should be looked at.
Head of Seismology Division of the Ghana Geological Survey Authority, Nicholas Opoku, indicated that it is high time more earthquake monitoring stations are created to make it easier to locate earth tremors.
If we're having enough stations in Ghana, we can easily locate an earthquake. But unfortunately, we have only one station here, which has been installed in the next room, which is working. Our own Ghana Digital Seismic Network is down, so it's not working. If they were to be working, we can easily locate the earthquake.
He also emphasized the need for residents in affected areas to relocate to a safer environment, if need be, in order to avert possible disaster.
If we are still recording some of these small earthquakes, what it tells you is that you should prepare so that when the big one happens, you will not have a major disaster. So that is why we have been advising that people living on the fault zone should not build on it.
Part of Accra in December last year recorded a similar tremor in areas around Weija and Bawi in the Ga South municipality. The tremor occurred at about 7:50 a.m. on Sunday, December 9 last year, shaking buildings and creating panic among residents of the affected areas. On January 13 this year, the Ghana Geological Survey Authority said the earth tremor measured 2.6 on the Richter scale. After the tremors, the Ghana Geological Survey Authority has been warning Ghanaians to brace themselves for a possible earthquake. In January 2006, a tremor measuring 3.7 on the Richter scale hit some parts of Accra. The severest earthquake yet in Ghana was experienced in June 22, 1939, with a magnitude of 6.4 on the Richter scale.
And now head of the Fulani community and headsman in the Ashanti region, Alhaji Osman bin Ahmed, has described as unnecessary the shooting and killing of cattle by the Operation Cow Leg Task Force at Agogo, and he has suggested the expansion of the ranching project in all districts to solve the long-standing conflict between herdsmen and crop farmers. And Ibrahim Abubakar has more.
The fight against the destruction of farmlands by nomadic herdsmen in Agogo and its environs continue to hit a snag after almost 2 decades. In the past 25 years, farmers in the area have accused the nomadic herdsmen of allowing their cattle to graze and destroy farmlands which serve as their only source of livelihood. The failure to deal with the situation has led to persistent clashes between the crop farmers and the herdsmen, resulting in deaths on both sides. The Operation Cow Leg Task Force, whose mandate is to flush out cattle headers, continue to shoot and kill the animals in a bid to drive them away. But the chief of the Fulani community and leader of herdsmen in the Ashanti region, Alhaji Osman bin Ahmed, says the killing of the animals is unnecessary.
It is not necessary. We don't need to be fighting. The cattle business is agriculture. The crop farming is agriculture. We should have a clear way of bringing them together.
Alhaji Osman called on the Ghana Immigration Service to ensure migrants are registered with their cattle. Government has also been tasked to invest and explore the economic potentials of cattle production as part of the Agri Ministry's Rearing for Food and Jobs program.
And now to the foreign front, where the substantive progress China and the United States have made in their trade talks has been well received in both countries and around the world. A senior Chinese official said on Monday, maintaining Beijing's previous upbeat assessment of discussions. China and the United States have imposed tit-for-tat tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of each other's goods, and the talks are aimed at de-escalating a conflict that has roiled financial markets, disrupted manufacturing supply chains, and shrunk U.S. farm exports. So far, there have been achieved substantive progress on many issues of mutual interest, Zhang said ahead of Parliament's opening on Tuesday. And that's how we end news here on Newday. Remember, you can get more news updates on our news app. It's 3news.com. My name is Josh Quaiding. Thanks for watching. Good morning.
Isn't it? It's Monday. And guess who is in our backdrop? Yeah. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday
Daniel,
to you.
If this is your hand,
happy birthday, dear Amma. Happy birthday to you.
Birthday girl.
Oh, thank you.
We had to
you know, Bright decided to resurface on my birthday.
Yeah, we had to go drag him.
Yes, we had to
go drag him to come.
Yeah. Of course, I know how important her birthday is, and for women, leave everything out, but not the birthday.
The birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Some
you.
years ago, your mother was in labor.
Yeah.
I'm sure this morning she will be this is the day I brought her.
Yeah. Bright said it.
Mom, we're grateful.
We're grateful. Ofam for you.
Okay.
Yeah. For the morning.
It's okay. But if it doesn't arrive before you leave, we'll eat it on your day.
No, we'll bring
before the day ends, because when Bright promises things,
and because we're celebrating Ghana Month, for lunch, I'm giving her ampesi and some contomere and kobe. And do you know Oshe?
No.
Okay, there's a difference between Oshe and Kako.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Right.
The Brahman speaking Fantis, they call it Oshe.
Mm.
That's salted fish.
Right.
And I think others prefer to call it kako or something, but it's the same.
I like a refwa.
Yes, a refwa. A refwa is
Why
missing.
Why do you name them after females?
It's going to extend. I don't know.
Why is the fish named after women? Anyway.
For your birthday, a nice one there.
Nice.
Plantain, contume, Kobe, and Oshe.
I'm happy you're doing local for me. And
yes,
you're not doing
because we're in Ghana
month.
month.
Yes,
we're celebrating a lot of.
Even if beyond Ghana month, I prefer to always, patronize the local for my birthday. It's just that I woke up too early, so I missed their tour. But I'll go back home.
So the promise, Johnny, is that she's not going to ask Mr. Ado to go buy pit test.
No. She can't do that.
No, I will do the whole abrofatils.
The other one that they wrap around some steak.
Shawarma.
Yes.
Why does rice?
Because the last time I tried, I said mashawa, so I didn't want to go
anyway,
there.
It's the 4th of March. Yeah. Welcome. It's Ghana month. We're starting you off and throughout this month of March, we're going to be eating Ghana, seeing Ghana, wearing Ghana, feeling Ghana, traveling Ghana,
drinking
Ghana, drinking, eating Ghana as well. Yeah,
see how he stresses on the drinking.
Yeah,
like it's very important to him.
If you talk about the beverage industry, our locals have had a lot to contribute. The Ghanaians have Otishinu, for example.
Danny, Amma wants to take me to the cleaners.
Oh no!
early Monday.
Okay, so tell me, which cleaners am I taking you to? Because now when people say cleaners, they could mean a lot of things.
This is
because
so
recently someone was being sent to the cleaners.
This is so unfair. You want to take a man to the cleaners on his own show?
Yes.
On his own show?
No, I haven't. You see, that's the thing. How can I do that even on my birthday? I hadn't thought about it. It's just I like the way he stressed drinking.
Yeah. I'm saying this in Sam George's voice. You want to take a man to the cleaners on his own show?
It's
so unfair.
You know what? Of all the things we're doing for Ghana Month, eating, traveling, wearing, we can forgo all of them, but we cannot forgo drinking.
Yeah,
that's true.
Because even the gods,
why drinking is important.
They like to be,
the
way to invite
we
them.
are going to drink.
Yeah,
that's true.
So Asana, Medang, Sobolo, Brukutu, Lamuji, Otinshinu,
palm wine.
Can we do cold tea? Like the sugar with the water and the bread.
the style. But I mean, Ghana has a lot to showcase, and I think we keep having to, remind people of what we have locally, and people should stop patronizing all the foreign things that are. They actually. We're not saying they're bad, but of course, when you've got the local ones, they are cheaper, they are readily available, you can make them. Because I remember when we were younger, we used to make asana at home.
Right.
I mean, once we were taught how to do it, and you watch the maize grow.
The maize,
Exactly. It was funny, it was interesting, and everyone wanted to learn how to do it. And when we did, you didn't have to buy it anymore.
Right.
You could make it in barrels and store. And even sobolo, you just go to the market, you buy the dry leaves, you can come and cook it at home. And so I think people should patronize these things, because when you want to buy the packed drinks for your children to go to school, it's expensive.
And you're not even sure what's in there.
You're not sure what's in there. And then very soon, the children are craving it. But if you learn to do these things, you can bottle them. It's cheap to bottle now. These plastic bottles are all available. You can just do it and give it to them to take to
The last
school.
time we had this Ghana month, I mean, the feedback was great. People said that it was exciting. There's a lot of Ghanaian clothing being worn. I'm not too sure what will be the next stage of it. Okay, now we've started again, and this is a national thing. Okay, that TV3 is in the championing. Exactly how do we intend to take this, move it from Ghana month, and then following the month of March, then we continue.
It becomes a national thing.
National thing. We started a Friday wear thing. Somehow, I'm not too sure whether it is still there or not, even though on Fridays you find a lot of people trying to go that easy with the African wear. But how do we move it on?
You see, and I like this question, then, bro. I was thinking yesterday, I was talking to my wife yesterday, and I said, look, we talk about Ghana Month.
Right.
TV3 leads the initiative. We have had presidential special initiative, to promote this. And I'm saying that Mr. Alan Chama, I think even out of power, has worn his African print. Now we see the president wearing a lot of African print. So people have now become designers, and they're doing shoes, bags, shirts, and everything else. But the fabric, does the money come to us as a country?
Right.
Because what we're wearing now is GTP.
Right, GTP.
But you'll be surprised that somebody could pick the same thing, take it elsewhere, make an imitation of it, and put it on the market and sell. So people are moved, cheaper. So people are moved to go and buy what we're wearing. But when they get onto the market, even though there's GTP, there's an inferior portion that they go and purchase.
That is cheaper.
Yes. Now, the question is, how do those things get into this country? We know that our borders are porous. So people are buying what they think is African print. But they are not buying African print. They are buying, they are feeding another economy. So you see what looks like kente, but it's not kente from Bori or from Volta region. It's fake kente, so light like paper. And we're sitting there, we're watching, and we think that, well, we are not helping our people to grow. And you look at our textile industries. Apart from GTP, look at the others.
All of them have gone. Johnny, and I recall the stretch from the Atimpoku Bridge through Juapon and Kotsombo. When I was a young man, I'm not old, so when I was a young man, no, it's true, Johnny, I'm sure.
Yeah.
When I was a young man.
You're old at heart.
At 63. I'm still
at heart.
Okay, all right. It was a very exciting road to use, just because these workers were there. Go to Juapon, a very exciting place to have a weekend. Continue to Akonsombo. Look, excellent. Today, the economy around that area is there.
And the weekend was basking.
Exactly.
Friday, Saturday,
you want
Sunday.
To go there.
There was a lot to spend, a lot to sell, a lot of fun to have, a lot of people to meet, a lot of networking. And you could go there and come back with pieces of cloth because you're buying them at factory price and all of that. We have folded up everything because we're busy importing imitation into this country.
And this conversation is serious because, Ama, it borders on the Ghanaian city that today
is running, waiting for us to chase. You know, when we all talk about these things, what bothers me is when people that, you know, how we can sustain these things. The reality is these textiles themselves have been priced expensive because of their overhead costs. And until the government moves in to see this as a, you know, a problem for most Ghanaians to be able to patronize these beautiful, everyone sees us on TV and they can't testify that GTP is beautiful. They would love to purchase it. But on the real, you know, for a Ghanaian who doesn't earn even that much, Johnny, after you've bought it, you can't just wear the print, you can't, you know, wrap it around yourself. You have to sew it. When you go and sew, the tailor or the seamstress is going to price it at such that, because they're thinking about the electricity, they're renting a space they have to pay for. So that also is translated to the consumer. And then it becomes too expensive for the ordinary Ghanaian to be able to patronize these. And so when they go on the markets and they buy the cheap ones, it's not because they don't see the beautiful Ghanaian ones on there. But comparatively, we made it expensive. Even though, of course, I would say go in for quality, even though it's expensive, because that can last you longer. But that ordinary Ghanaian wishes they'll do that. But the economic sense cannot afford them to do that.
I like the fact that, look, ICGC, for example, was celebrating its 35th anniversary, decided to give the cloth to GTP to do. I know the Anglican Church does it, the Presby Church, a few more churches will do that. But then
are they even printing them here?
Well, I know. But you see, the base point is this. Until we prevent people from bringing in the fakes, because Etanam say did a story from Makola. There was a GTP version of what she was looking for.
The local
and there was another brand which is not GTP, but they look the same. Same design, same length of material, same everything. Same. So you wonder why we pay people to stay at the borders, we give them guns, we give them authority, and these things still find their way in here. Somebody collects duty for it. How?
Where are we printing the khaki? Is that color brown? The junior high school
uniform.
Is it brown?
Yes.
Brown and what? Cream?
You can't say cream. It's a bit of, it comes between yellow and cream.
Where are we printing them from? I suspect we're importing them. I suspect we're importing them.
But why?
I suspect we're importing them.
But why?
But before, it used to be in Ghana. It used to be locally
made. But why? Why are we importing everything? Ghana has a very booming industry in every facet. But and look, this cloth thing, you think that people are wearing local fabric.
But it's not.
But if they are wearing, you'll be shocked. So we spend time promoting African stuff, and people are benefiting in their country, sitting in their country, doing nothing.
Okay, let me wish you, this is from Dr. Ebenezer Akwa. He says happy birthday to the new bride. His daughter's first name is Amma, and so that's your daddy.
Yeah, that's
Dr.
my
daddy. Is in Takra.
Thank you,
On behalf of all the doctors, Dr. Shribo, Dr. Chabensa, everybody else. Now, good morning. We are doing this on your behalf. Happy birthday.
Dr. Shribo will be amazed that you do this for him. I'm sure he's
All
already
right, we'll
sent
take a break now. On return, there's more action here on Newday. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, and let's take a look at the front pages. NDC leaked tape. Mahama defense of Uswampofo justifies attack on Peace Council chairman. That's Daily Guide. And Nana pushes for vibrant aluminium industry. And freak accident in Kumasi. BCU steps aside over Anasis Galamsey video. At tremor in Accra. The BNFT is next. Dr. Awal adjudged the most business-oriented African minister, and that's in the last week, Friday. He was at the GIJ official launch, 60th anniversary. Fantastic gentleman. Omnibank Sahel Sahara become Omnipsic. Okay, Omnipsic Bank. Okay. PPA investigates botched snake anti-venom procurement, and that's it. The final newspaper. Vibrant aluminium industry is a must. President charges Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation Board. And Dr. Awala judged most business-oriented African minister. Government protests CNN documentary. Parties agree to collaborate on sequel. The Ghanaian Times. Catholic bishops slam vigilantes, call on public to promote peace, security. Government poised to set up Integrated Aluminium Industry President, and Dr. Awala judged most business-oriented African minister. And finally, the Daily Graphic. Council of State to meet President over import duties and taxes. What exactly would they be telling the President? Not to fall for the indexes that have been shown to him? Well, we wait to see. Dr. Awala judged most business-oriented African minister. And recurring earth tremors in Accra. Prepare emergency plan. President tax, National Security and Interior Minister. On your front page is the NADMO boss, Mr. Eric Nana Ajiman Prempe. Is there. I said, prepare your emergency plan. Yeah, prepare. Mama, what are we ranting about? I'm sure we'll still
talk about the earth tremors, Johnny, because this prepare for emergency plan, I think we've heard it. This won't be the first time. I think earlier, if I don't, last year, last year, we had a similar shake and we felt it around, yes, but this was 3.9. And for me, I think when I felt it was, I was sleeping. I remember very well, I was sleeping and I felt a shake. And then I woke up thinking, what just happened? But in my mind, I thought, okay, could that have been an earth tremor? But I think because it was night, people didn't hear too much about it till the next morning. And I was worried about the people who live in these earthquake-prone areas and how if I, who lives in a non-earthquake-prone, felt it that strongly, I was wondering what was going on in their homes. And these are, you know, things that can cause deaths. And we're never prepared for such things. And that's where I'm worried about. It's always talk. But when you say prepare for emergency plan, what are you going to do? In the event that this was a reality, would people just have perished and then today we would have these feedback coming, or we would have been able to actually, rescue them from these things? When it happens outside, even with all the sophisticated things, people die. We agree. These are, natural occurrences. But at least you should be prepared to some extent to make sure that you minimize the injuries that come out of these. But when we talk about them doing nothing,
people should be made to build their high-rise buildings or whatever it is with those detectors, the seismic detectors. They should be able to build them with it and not leave everything to chance. You know. Anyway, let's hit the streets now. George Queening is out there ranting with the folks, and you go to enjoy it. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
Good morning and welcome to Daily Rant here on Newday. My name is Josh Quinn. We are live on DSTV channel 279. And the earthquake scare lingers on Saturday around 11:30 p.m. There was this minor earthquake and even extended to areas like Medina, Legon, Abelenque, Soutuum, North Kanesha, to mention but a few. And concerns are that government should relocate people in these earthquake-prone areas, particularly Wager and McCarthy Hills. And according to the Ghana Geological Survey Authority, there's going to be an earthquake, but they cannot tell exactly when that will be. And people are really terrified about this, I must say. And they are also concerned that equipment at the authority is obsolete and they cannot really bring out those accurate predictions. And so the question is, should government relocate these people? And what are matters arising with regards to, earthquake matters in Ghana? This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking.
Oh, me wanna say as I buy no team ye na say relocation be no be ama omo motemantam wona wa ya boa om. Yes ora bibia aban. Ye hu say ade ye na eba beto ye. Ana aban say ka ho bi. E say no we na ebo ekoko say bibi kase eba. Nti woni pande na wo ya boa ho. Mba pa sori o ka se mi chem say kodwo me de wo ba wiase no. Ma hwe wa de na wo so wo ya boa ho. Se no moto aban sebi nkasa bɔne ba na bɔne si wi a wana de kɔhye no tie nipa na ye hu sɛ BBC eba na ɛbɔ ekɔkɔ no ye na wo sɛ ɛboa ye ho na aban so bibi ya nso de ɛda boa ye.
I think it's a very bad news experience, because it was a tremor. Geological engineers, they be almost signal, but on prediction, as if say Amana grow to an earthquake. That is a minor earthquake. That is moderate. So we are close to experience a DBI very huge. And as much as say catches will be in Tumfrio, there is much investment in that land. And baby I think say a do baby individuals, citizens, to me and can once MP. Those say a bit my catch or more relocated on say they should be very careful of endying to but the government should come in, because in the foreigners, I think the government intervene over such areas, and so I believe that the government should come out and speak so that fear and
like I want to understand.
I sure more say Ogusu ye say good machines, not geological engineers, and accurate information, because it means really part of the I think say it's a hard time the government should intervene, bringing good people. Say you go for the machines in and that's what creator. Foreigners can come in so that we are sure say your good safety. And yes,
if you say government should intervene, I remember said there was this sector minister, deputy minister, works in housing. One said landlords in these earthquake-prone areas should stop selling lands out. At least if government should intervene, this is also a way of intervening, is it? As what they need the Gusuko so area.
Yeah, as what they need Gusuko, government no much power, because so people turn as I say no be a corner because a full process be brave. So they are aware and for you. There should be some force be. There should be a force. I able to media forcing for stop it areas, and that is what I'm talking about. Government and this side, and I said relocation be or her. I say yes, yeah, I didn't want you,
Messi might me up team free. A city worth 400,000 cities. How be catch him sash relocate? Let me go time.
Boss, Bible say I only didn't be jawako.
400,000 cities na make. I am be the seed I own.
But we just had no brother. Obashiron ka just had money in our home. And or say any panel, you're too young for. I buy no once na mentas and say Tigana have the right equipment or the right tools.
No more can see a friend say geological a friend is a Ghana Meteorological Agency, Becca's in Sobeto. Obi the umbrella call.
And I mentas and say, Yana or guess and as I say. Na dem want say tetin na nam kama ni bem amukwa no munyisu fidie bio na yes you can say new age new era machines ne ma ba abofo de ne ma ba etini hu ne mampo no ye kan bem oho ne medwunu ha mente ase oho nti omo beka ha no say am timi tefe ma asere ma hwe omo say am say agobi na mudi nti oho ne de men hyela ne gidi omo musa nti menya ya Ghana aban no en call for foreign aid na omo bebo ya ne hu de be
yeah aswadin na omo tutonsa asini fie o ne ye because you can say abina ba out aba be catch us say places we near ma say na ekoso no be turn fie enye ofie na e kana wabo na o na de asi fie no na okay fie no wabo ka no o de asi nti usu mfiri o
na what do you mean o si me mfi one o de me coin de me can what I say
na enu nti ne ka say yes raban ne say relocation so oyi a onye ne fast onye bibi a betimi aboa oman no because you see ano oyi wo free o usu free o so oman dan keto bi na akotenam kura na benya asundwe a yes ne say obetena wi mama epic na ye dey aba na oba e ba na wu a e dey na abenya.
But so study this earthquake at here prone areas maybe to some McCarthy Hills and West Hills Mall, all those sites wager. But the AC Saturday no Eko Madina, Eko Abelinkpe, Eko Legon, Eko North Kaneshi Christian Village. These places near they name say earthquake prone areas. And say I am sure.
Yeah, I am sure or honor said the all can say them didn't got kind. Let me answer a be say relocation now with us a hefana by name for Monko. I learned that this is not the first time relocation Airbus or Ghana. Over Anglo Junction or Kumasia. Na Nyankwa na ehod ma. Na so government in enya baby amoma from Wood Village as is your home yeduma. The same thing na no bet.
If you stay at a place for a longer time, change somebody's attitude and all that, it's not easy. Matna a place close to 30 years, leaving that place to a new place, it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy, but because of your life, it's to me easy more.
When you be my enquire, baby, or do be cobia, ubenya sumbi, na ye baby, I ought to na, ebia de way or honey, the wound here, dance will be.
Yeah, my phone on my ass for then say, if you didn't dear you money and Jindy, into your cat and swim require who say, I can't quite. But right now, no share areas now, it's working at SC me who say, or say, I saw phone so no super movie.
No, I'm
director.
Come on,
because oh, and no better was sorry to say we be who say be and I also more catch say be say so be see into honey.
I be savage nyame yi enu nchom nyame de nipa no oyi nipa na chrom
oyi nipa nkwa na chrom eh ebisi omu hu nyankopon so mote ponko so nyino director obisi oti e na oti hu nyankopon so oti say handkerchief enti hanu me also ohu enti asofo no mesere mo eno so mo mbrɛ mu bi ye kasa aban mo mbrɛ mu bi na mo meyi hu de ekɔ ye say hu sunsun wi ase mo na mo hu de ekɔ de eba enti asofo no so mo mbrɛ mu bi ye sere mo
asofo no eno ma bibiri na ebesi a omutimi hu eka nti ye sere say wo nso omo enkoso anaso omo ho ba no mo mpae because minim say your Christian council ho no mo to omo nhia no mo mpae na eno ma bi ese nyankopon yi kire omo no yetimi we bia na ye kasa na enya sa areas na esi nko na be fa the whole Ghana mum na location ye kan nyina so nsan ko because uyi obi afro bi otia Ghana here na adno betena
obi okuma se be kasa mi na fa mo be me kuma se eden na SKK ba mo dem mo ndwum akra for mo sort mo
ba Kumasi is part of Ghana and he say kasa the whole Ghana na ebesi a wo Kumasi wo yendi wo hino you are part
here na ya mfa ne say joke na say bibia because obi asida 1939 bi asida enti de betimi
I think 14 people died and then others get
bi asida enti no yesra ban ene timamfo no yesre wo mo enya se bia wo dan wo ba bia ade na ho popo ye na banti no wo ton de ama obi foforo na mo nso amoto no also who say I see enya se bia emma o enti o ton ne fofufu nti me koto obetimi akoto fofufu ndo beton ama no akoto na ofiri ho na oji ni sika gu ni botom a ya relocate na ade na ba besi ho ede na obeye satam ya hwere o nti ade ne de ye nyina ye mo ayesra aban no.
I know say the Geological Survey Authority said magnitude near 3.9, the highest recorded in 2019, but Amaka said usually tremors here say kokoko it's announcing say earthquake here ba what I say almost say bad here ba but you need time ba intimate here come so I'm sorry there
amam yanga sa hwe me relocate free Accra because you baby anya prone areas in the crampo are affected so mine on ponio and you do the the highest point of any day and there and see theater no
the ekon yen hwa de bi so e wa ha sei omo ka se ebeba so omo nim re besi na sa so omo de ye ko trese mu Enti ese sa adwene ho se ana wiase ewie yasem na omo ka na asese. Ana boni bi na yemu bia dia na oman mpanifo bia di. Ana ho asotwe na eba.
E man panyimfo ne omo mbu oman ne sere omo. Ase bibi esi wie a ene ehu sa afi asem asinti e pe ho solution. Ansa na eboni bewu no na egba bi owu ya na ase kwen okofa so wu ye ne nkofo ebra wu ho. But because omunye superstar.
I see that place because Sakwa is still in a bad state, yeah.
Onye obinye superstar ko wu ho no ntini yente ye. But superstar wu ye ndie ete de ekoso. Nti we de yesre say technicians no muni. Ana ase machines no muni a US de am say ye no omo de ye hwebom. Omo mpe ekwan bi mfa so say da be omo betimi aba research within ebia 4 5 months 6 months na afi ye hu de oman no esi ko. So ba say the whole Ghana na say electric ne ba base na say relocation ne be ka the whole Ghana na say Togo ne be ko a na nyina ya kwa akotena.
Well, the earthquake scare lingers on, and for the public, if the government should, call for international assistance, it's just in the right direction because equipment at the Ghana Geological Survey Authority are obsolete, and that cannot really give us accurate readings into these earthquakes. And so let's know what you also think watching home. Just log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's TV3 Ghana, and on Twitter, it's a News TV3. Thanks for watching. Good morning.
Thanks so much for staying there. Daily Graphic, the Ghanaian Times, Daily Guide, The Finder, and the BNFT are the news I have this morning. From the NDC leaked tape, Mahama defends Ofosu-Ampofo, justifies attacks on Peace Council chair. To prepare emergency plan, President tasks National Security and Interior Ministry and Council of State to meet President over import duties and taxes. That's the Daily Graphic. The Finder stays on the aluminium industry. Vibrant aluminium industry is a must. President charges Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation Board. That's the story. And you might have seen the documentary on child labor on the part of the Volta Lake. The government protest CNN documentary. Parties agree to collaborate on the sequel. If you've been following that, I'm sure you know why government is protesting. And the BNFT says PPA investigates botched snake antivenom procurement. The Ghanaian Times stays on the vigilantism issue. Catholic bishops slam vigilantes, call on public to promote peace and security. And secretary to the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining steps aside. Those are some of the stories I have this morning. My team for the discussion this morning, Eric Chum is a member of the NPP's team. Eric, good morning.
Good morning, Brian.
And hope you had a good weekend.
I did. How about you?
It was fantastic.
You've gone into hibernation for
Yes, I went to the Western North region.
What was happening there?
Yeah, we're just visiting there. It's a new,
lobbying
place.
for a position.
Maybe.
Tell us, we can
right,
lobby
that's
for
okay.
you.
I was in the Bodi district,
okay.
visiting my people there.
Is that where you come from?
No.
Oh,
you know me and my rural people.
Oh, okay.
All right, grateful. Thanks for joining us. And then I also have the NDC's team member here, Felix Twatiofosu, a former deputy minister. Good morning.
Good morning.
And hope you're doing great.
I'm okay. I can't complain.
Thanks for joining us. Now, let's start our conversation today. Let's take a look at this story. The Ghanaian Times this morning says that the secretary to the committee, the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, has stepped aside. If we take a look at the story on page 17, it says that Mr. Charles Bisu has stepped aside from his position pending investigations into corruption allegations leveled against him. He's been cited for corruption and misconduct in a documentary by Tiger IPI titled Galamsey Fraud, an allegation he has vehemently denied. According to him, I would like to state at the very outset that I am innocent of the allegations leveled against me, as I was not and have not been engaged in any act of corruption, criminality, or misconduct, Mr. Bisu said in a release. He said that despite the denial, he has informed the president and chairman of IMCIM, Professor Frimpong Boateng, of his decision to step aside pending investigations into the allegations. He is welcoming government decision to get the matter investigated and express his readiness to avail himself at any time to the investigation process. That's the story carried by the Times and some other news. Eric, let me give you the chance to, first of all, to respond perhaps on the side of government. Some have suggested that apart from him stepping aside, government should relieve him of his job as a presidential staffer. What's your take?
Well, thank you very much. Good morning to yourself and then to Felix and also to the viewers out there. I think that when it comes to these things, it's important that we're very cautious in how it's approached. Especially, and I keep saying that because we've decided to pursue the rule of law and democracy as the basis for our governance, it's important that regardless of how we feel about issues, the processes that are meant to go through, one is meant to go through for you to be found guilty of something should be allowed to. Otherwise, we create a certain situation where people are unduly given certain tags, and essentially once somebody makes an allegation of wrongdoing, essentially guilty. So as far as I'm concerned, I think that Mr. Bisu has shown some resolve by actually deciding to step aside for investigations to continue. I also know for a fact that the Tiger IPI have actually stated that they've sent the evidence that they have to the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Mr. Bisu seems to believe strongly that the allegation that's been leveled against him is not the case, and that he has every right to also, as far as I'm concerned, to defend himself and get to the bottom of the matter, so that I believe strongly, especially the fight to stem the menace of Galamsey, which I believe strongly that every well-meaning Ghanaian would support, would continue. So again, you can come up with all sorts of reasons why maybe he should be relieved of his position as a presidential staffer and all of those things. But that, for me, it's something that is a prerogative of the president.
Is it good for the presidency to keep him?
Well, as we speak now, I would not even be able to tell if he's relieved of his position as a presidential staffer or not. But I'm saying that because the issue is actually out there in the public domain, and he has actually come out to step aside for investigations to continue, and then also has actually advocated for that to happen. I mean, and there's somebody who is saying that he's really not guilty of what he's been accused of, then let's allow the processes to continue, and then let's get to the point where once it's established that some culpability is established, then the ensuing either repercussions or whatever would come. So I don't have a challenge with that. I always believe that we need to give every single Ghanaian the opportunity to defend themselves. And sometimes when it does happen, when people are actually almost tried in the court of public opinion, in the court of domain, that suggests that once an allegation is made, you are guilty, is extremely dangerous. And it's because even if one innocent person is actually taken through a process and is actually convicted of something that they haven't done, that is a travesty of justice as far as I'm concerned. That's why it's imperative that we would stick to the processes, we adhere to the tenets of rule of law, and allow every Ghanaian to, as a citizen, to enjoy some of these rights that are, open to them. Now, once it's established that it's wrong, and I think that government position is very clear, and I was very categorical that anybody found capable of indulging in any act that actually is in abeyance with the fight against Galamsey and is seen to have indulged in some kind of corrupt, fraudulent activity will be held accountable. As far as I'm concerned, the Office of Special Prosecutor is an agency under government, right? So if we are looking at it from that perspective, then that process itself has been activated so that whoever is found culpable, the evidence is adduced, they go there, they also bring their counter arguments also, and if it's found that they have indulged in anything that should be punished, they should be punished.
I'm grateful. Felix, a legal practitioner, Mr. Martin Pebu, is arguing based on the fact that he thinks that, for instance, after the Brazil 2014 World Cup Commission, and which the then sports minister, Mr. Evisefe Yankra, was sent to the presidency, that decision hurt the Mahama administration. His argument, therefore, is that take Mr. Bisu from the presidency.
Well, I think that Mr. Pebu and others completely misrepresent the facts when they speak that way. It's important that no adverse findings were made against Evisefe Yankra, following which he was sent to the Flagstaff House.
He was sent there before the findings.
Please, don't do this. Don't do this.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Evisefe Yankra was the subject of a reshuffle during the 2014 World Cup. The World Cup had not ended when he was reshuffled from the Ministry of Sports to the presidency as a presidential staffer. The commission had not begun its work when he was reshuffled. So all those claims are blatantly false. It is propaganda churned out by MPP propagandists, which unfortunately appears to have sunk into the heads of a number of people who constantly repeat it as if it is fact. So it is important that you use this platform to clarify that. He was not sent to the presidency as a reward for any wrongdoing that he was found to have done.
What about the argument that he should have taken him from the presidency after the commission?
Let me speak to the substantive point. You need to have established clear wrongdoing against the man. If it does not happen, you cannot say that he should be taken out of the Flagstaff House only because MPP propagandists are jumping over themselves and making claims. You understand the point I'm making? I'm saying that it is propaganda that unfortunately you in the media have failed to verify and constantly repeat. So once a clarification has been brought, you need to accept it and speak to the facts. That's the point.
That's what I'm giving the chance.
But you see, the other point, you see, whatever it is that compels or compelled Mr. Bisu to resign from his position on the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining should compel him to resign his position also as presidential staffer. Unless he can say that he has not left his position on the Interministerial Committee as a result of the Anas expose.
That's exactly what.
But then it simply makes his continuous stay in government untenable. I agree with the fundamental premise that every man needs to be heard before he is condemned. At this stage, Mr. Bisu is not a subject of any legal proceedings. So his guilt or otherwise, in terms of a lawful process, has not been established. What we have are very credible allegations of corruption on his part. There is at least prima facie evidence to that effect. And once prima facie evidence is established, it serves as enough basis for some actions to be taken in fulfillment or in compliance with certain basic standards. And one of them is that you cannot continue to be in office whilst you remain under investigation. And it is something that has happened to many, many, many people. So an exception cannot be made for Mr. Bisu only because he's a member of the New Patriotic Party and works in the government of President Akufo-Addo. So I expect that, given that he has failed to resign honorably as a presidential staffer, President Akufo-Addo should relieve him of that position if he indeed is committed to fighting corruption. Except that it is something that may never happen.
Not because he's guilty of anything.
No, I'm saying that as for his guilt, in terms of law, it has to be done through a process. And I maintain that every man deserves a fair hearing, no matter what you are accused of. But that is a process that should come if indeed the president is committed to the fight against corruption. But before then, there are acceptable standards the world over, and Ghana cannot preclude itself from that. That when prima facie evidence of wrongdoing is established against you, in some jurisdictions, even the mere allegation alone is sufficient to get you to leave a certain position, pending full investigations and perhaps a legal process. If after a legal process you are deemed not to have committed the offense for which you were accused, you can always come back, or you can continue your life in the private sector or any other part of a national life that you did.
So can we say the video is
of course, but the video shows clearly that he has taken some money. It has become a subject of controversy. That controversy, in my view, is enough to warrant him leaving his position as presidential staffer. He has done so as a member of the establishment committee on illegal mining. So I'm saying that whatever it is that informed that decision should also inform his decision to leave the presidency. It does not appear that he is willing to do so. So the onus now lies on the president, the appointing authority, to relieve him of his position, because it is a principle that has been applied to many before Mr. Bisiu, and I'm sure will be applied to many after him. Except that when you look at the track record of this president, you do not get any confidence and hope that he will act. Because in the past, he has cleared people of wrongdoing, even when formal processes were still underway or were yet to be undertaken. He has put his neck on the line and robustly defended wrongdoing. The latest being the Oslo 8 million chancery scandal, where despite evidence available in the public domain, the president insisted that no wrongdoing had been done. In the Boston moving Pina scandal, despite glaring evidence of procurement breaches and clear violations of the law, including the MPA Act, which the MPA itself spoke to, the president insisted that no wrongdoing had been occasioned. In the Cash for Sea scandal, even as a parliamentary inquiry was ongoing and that committee had not finished its work, the president came out to dismiss the whole investigation and said that it will go nowhere, which clearly prejudiced the outcome of that particular investigation. So when you consider the fact that the president has not been willing in previous instances to crack the whip, but he has sought to defend the wrongdoing, it leaves one to wonder whether or not there will be an exception in the Charles Bisiu matter. Otherwise, principle would dictate that the man leaves his position pending any thorough investigation. He speaks about the special prosecutor office. Well, the special prosecutor, as far as we know, has not acted in the last year or so. There's no indication that he will act. I recall that when
he's been petitioned.
Well, when the Metro Mass scandal occurred, he came out to say that he will look into it. Up to date, there's no update at all on where we are in terms of what has happened. The Moving Pina scandal too, he was petitioned. Nothing has come out of it. So there's a tall list of cases that he has not dealt with, which then leaves one wondering whether or not anything at all will emanate from the office. I don't think that government has done enough to address this problem. The last time government spoke, they said they were asking for the full rations, the whole unedited tape to be given to them before they act. But the point is that it is not government's business to go and ask for the full tapes. It is the business of the investigative bodies to ask for the tape when investigations commence. Why? In the Nyantechi case, even before the video had been aired, the president reported him purportedly to the police CID for investigation. So why is it different on this matter when it involves one of his own? But you see, cast this aside, you find that ever since that number 12 video, ever since Anas aired it, and it showed portions where Mr. Kwesi Nyantechi was saying that if you wanted to obtain contracts in Ghana, you can give the president some 5 million, you can give the vice president some 3 million, and some other monies to other government officials, essentially saying that there's a bribe collection syndicate at the presidency. The entire government and MPP apparatus has been unleashed on Anas Ameya Anas. He has come under constant and suddenly...
That's an allegation.
Well, it's not an allegation. Listen. I mean, but the evidence is clear. Presidential employees are all over social media castigating Anas, calling into question his methods. No less a person than Gabriel Chedakun, who is known to be very, very close to the president and very, very influential in the scheme of things.
Eric, I'll get you the chance to react, please.
Mr. Chedakun, who is a known power broker in this government, has come out to list 10 things that he says are questions that Anas should answer. Suddenly, he is questioning the very methods that they approved of when they were in opposition. I mean, you recall the 2012 debate where President Akufo-Addo categorically stated that he would apply the Anas principle in fighting corruption, and how subsequently Gabriel Chedakun himself and several MPP commentators and functionaries splashed that all over their social media handles and spoke to it extensively in the media and indicated that that was the chosen path that the MPP will apply in the fight against corruption. It has turned out that that so-called Anas principle was in fact just another afterthought, flowery rhetoric, which the president's aides obviously scribbled for him to go and recite when he had no belief or conviction in it. Otherwise, why should the same principle, when it is applied to MPP members or the president himself and his appointees, become a subject of controversy? If you believed in the principle yesterday, why are you differing today? Only because it affects your government. So honestly, this matter has not been handled well. I do not have any confidence at all unless they prove me wrong, and I'll relish the prospect of they proving me wrong. I don't think that on the evidence of what you've seen so far from this president, he is willing or able to act on this matter any better than he has done in the past.
Okay, Eric, please come in. He insists on a principle that he says must be applied here. If your reaction and any other issue you want to react to.
I'm actually surprised that Felix decided to go that route to start with. One, it is not true that Mr. Elvis Efrianka was reshuffled. When the infamous Brazil saga was playing out, which became one of the biggest embarrassment for this country, he was actually promoted from Minister of Youth and Sports into the presidency, even before the commission, the so-called commission, was set up.
Okay.
And what did they do?
So
there?
you agree
they went to,
the commission was not in before he was
They went
set
to the commission to cry. Everybody knows it's obvious for all Ghanaians to see exactly what actually transpired at the commission. In any case, nothing happened even when the commission finished its job in terms of the recommendations that happened and all of those things. Now, so it's totally false to even create the perception that Mr. Ankara was reshuffled and all of those things. That is not the case. Again, to start with, so that principle that today Felix is actually clamoring for did not happen under their watch. They did not show, there's no evidence of any value and principle in the matter when it comes to these things. In any case, Mr. Ankara did not do what Mr. Charles Bisu has done by actually coming out and actually stepping aside. You understand? Stepping aside as Minister of Sports, right? Before he got to the airport, he had been promoted. Again, this idea...
he had been removed from the sports. How was he going to step aside?
Listen, this idea, but that was, you know what it is. I mean, I'm not going to even go into that. This idea that it lies in Felix's mouth to actually establish a prima facie case. It's the first time I've heard this.
The video doesn't?
No, but the video, it doesn't lie between me and you to establish a prima facie case. There are procedures, there are processes that you have to go through for the Attorney General to establish that there's prima facie on this particular issue before they even go to court. And I'm saying that Anas himself has actually petitioned the Office of the Special Prosecutor. As far as I'm concerned, as I sit here, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is an agency under government. So that process itself has been activated. Again, you see, I'm surprised that he went the route of talking about clearing of people and all of those things. You see, when you do that, and then you sit back and then you say that, well, you are actually somebody who actually is a consummate Democrat and you believe in the rule of law, it doesn't sit well with me. One, every single thing that he actually mentioned in terms of allegations that were made by certain individuals went through a process. He was talking about cash for seats. It went through a parliamentary process. The other ones that he mentioned and all of those things are things that actually went through a process, were investigated, and it was found that these people were not culpable. Again, the mere fact that an allegation has been made does not mean that that person is guilty. It has to go through a process, and that process was actually done. It was investigated, and it was found out that when a flock of guinea fowls flying from Ghana into Burkina Faso, what was the position of the NDC when a sitting president took a gift or a bribe, if you like, from a contractor who within 2-3 months after receiving that actually got a contract in this country? The Subes, the GDES, all the scandals that actually ensued at the point where we actually had to take 3.2 million Ghana cedis of our money to paint pictures of former presidents on the bus and all of those. That is the track record of the NDC. You know, so when they go this route and you realize that all the things that they're doing is politics as usual and actually trying to create a certain perception that this is something that government is doing to protect certain individuals. I think that even in the issue of Galamsey, what is the track record of the NDC? It was under the NDC that the issue of Galamsey became rife in this country, where our environment, our water bodies and everything was actually dissipated to a certain point where our water bodies were not fit for us to consume. You understand? So this is a government that has shown commitment. And again,
quickly, wrap up. Let me get...
Again, the government has been categorical in its statement, saying that any effort by any individual or group or organization to help with the fight against galamsey is welcome.
Okay.
And the first step has been taken. And I believe strongly that this issue about ANAS is also a matter of individual rights, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, quickly react to it. He says that this ANAS principle thing is beginning to see a change.
Because it is erroneous to also sit here and suggest that Ghanaians, citizens of this country, have absolutely no right to interrogate the methods and the procedures of ANAS. That will be disingenuous to start with, because this is a democracy that we are running. As far as I'm concerned.
What has changed in the ANAS
nothing has changed, but the thing is that...
It's the same thing.
Listen, the president is committed to that, and he has stated categorically that when anybody is found culpable of any wrongdoing, he would act. Okay. Apart from that, government has come and established a position, which is that anybody who is helping in the fight against galamsey is welcome. Again, it is not wrong for anybody to suggest that the methods that is being used by ANAS should not unduly infringe on the rights of other Ghanaians. There's absolutely no wrong with that. I believe strongly that when we do that and we interrogate the procedure and the processes and the methods that is being used by ANAS, it would actually enrich our democracy. In any case, people have had a school of thought that says that, listen, the person that is actually soliciting is guilty. The person who is actually also giving the bribe is also guilty.
Okay.
That is a principle that some people have established. And I'm saying that, well, if somebody goes out there and says that I feel that this method is actually akin to entrapment, they have every right to do so, and that's why we have.
But what do you think? Is there something wrong with the ANAS principle?
It's not my personal.
But you are the one. That's what I'm asking.
It's not my personal.
He thinks that you are attacking the principle.
Nobody. There is no.
You're not attacking it.
Listen,
there's nothing wrong with it.
Effort or no concerted attempt by government to denigrate the image of ANAS, but individuals, either they are MPP, NDC, or ordinary citizens of this country, CPP or whatever, have every right to interrogate
the methods used
by
Eric, I'm
and that shouldn't be.
Phyllis, come in, but I'm taking a break, so be brief about it. The key thing he says that we'll come back. Come in. The key thing he says is that you said the video provides that prima facie evidence. He says it's not.
Well, of course, it is yet another defense of corruption. That's what he's done.
No,
please,
you allow him to go, then we can take a break and come back.
The video shows clearly that the man is receiving consideration in exchange for the circumvention of the rules governing the licensing of mining companies to undertake mining. That is what the video says. And that's
so is it a prima facie evidence?
Yes, but that's what it is.
We don't need the legal persons to do it.
I think that is not fair.
Eric, you allow me. So you think we don't need the legal...
Look, I'm saying that, of course, even if I chance upon you with a smoking gun and Eric is found dead on the floor, okay, I can only claim that you are responsible for the murder. But to establish your guilt and throw you into prison, a certain process has to be undertaken. The beginning of that process is for you to be taken into custody and an investigation commenced. The beginning of dealing with people accused of corruption is to let them stand aside from the office they are holding in order that the investigations can continue. And again, I see that he is trying to seek solace in the falsehood about Elvis Ankra. Elvis was not promoted. A presidential staffer is equivalent to a minister if you look at the organogram of government. So if you are reshuffled from a ministerial portfolio and you are made a presidential staffer, you have not been promoted. You've only been taken from one portfolio to another. Again, that happened in June of 2014, before the commission was set up. He was part of a general reshuffle. I was moved from information ministry to communications ministry. So it is not true that he was promoted. Second, why? Eric himself. Was he not the subject of an investigation at the Ghana Export Promotion Agency? After some allegations of wrongdoing were leveled against him and his boss. He was removed, and now he's at the Ministry of Information as a government spokesperson. Would he say that he has been rewarded for that alleged act of corruption? So why is he applying a different standard to Elvis Ankra? If he can be removed from one agency on the back of allegations of corruption, and sent to another ministry to perform a certain role. Why is he precluding others from doing so? Except, of course, you establish conclusively that he was guilty of the offense, and perhaps he should have gone to jail and he's been brought to a ministry. So I don't think that it is fair.
No, again, that is the same principle.
But the point is that, okay, yes, but the point is that,
that's the whole point.
Listen. In the case of Charles Bissiu, we have seen him take money in a tape. The person who did the tape is saying that he took this money in order to assist me circumvent the process to acquire a license. So wrongdoing has been alleged against him. Now he has resigned from his position as secretary to this committee, and yet remains
to allow investigations.
And yet remains as presidential staff. And I'm saying that that position is untenable. The same principle that informs his resignation from that committee must inform his resignation from the office of presidential staff. The final other point is that he claims that there is no concerted effort to attack Anas. Yet you know that it is not true. I mentioned to you that officials of government, people who are employed at the presidency, are leading attacks on Anas. Their bosses are aware of this. Look, can you take your point?
Because of what is the evidence?
But you say what? No, listen, that is wrong.
Is there no point?
Yes, I'm saying that listen, when a government has a certain position, no employee of that government has a right to.
Okay, so based on that,
if you do that and your bosses don't sanction you, it means that they approve of it. So, of course, I don't expect the president himself or the vice president or even a to come out and say that Anas is this, Anas is that, or launch direct attacks on him. By why? John Kuma, who is an employee of this government, has gone on record to attack Anas's motives and principles and
but
methods.
If he does,
I am taking a break. I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break.
The final point before you go, you see, all the questions relating to Anas's methods, all the questions being asked today, were relevant before President Akufo-Addo associated himself with that principle. But because of politics of convenience, he thought that as for the customs officers and the people involved in cocoa smuggling who were exposed by Anas, they didn't need to have the benefit of questions asked about the methods.
Okay.
So he approved it and endorsed it. And then when it is applied to him and his government, suddenly they find problems with it.
I am
the
grateful.
Reason why they are doing this
I am grateful.
Is that the president was mentioned
I'm grateful.
in the anti-cheat.
I'm grateful. The Council of State is said to be meeting the president over import duties and taxes. When we return, we'll take a look at that and how that is expected to deal with the high import duties that certain business organizations are complaining about. Stay there. We're back. Let's go to the Daily Graphic. A Council of State to meet President over import duties and taxes. This week, that's a story. The Council of State already has gone into some consultations with some groups, the GRA, the Customs Division of GRA, GUTA, and several others. Now, after going into that consultation, the council is expected to be the president and place before him their recommendations to review import duties and taxes. Government says several measures have been put in place to deal with this issue. Reforms at the port, including the deepening of the digitization of the clearing system to seal the loopholes. And this is a job the Council of State has undertaken. Having sought the consultations with these groups, it is now ready to tell the president what can be done to review this. Eric, the complaints and the consultations, I'm sure, might have achieved some level of, let me say, agreement. And so the Council of State now says we need to tell the president and suggest how to deal with this problem. Right way, I guess.
Well, I mean, the Council of State is there to play a certain significant role when it comes to, one, advising the president on major issues concerning the country. So as far as I'm concerned, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Issues to do with import duties and taxes are quite contentious. And it is because of the fact that I think over the period, we all agree that we have been wholly dependent on imports of even products that I think that we've always had the capacity to produce locally. That has, in a way, affected the city in terms of how strong it is, because the clamor for city to bring in these goods has always been a case, apart from the exigencies of the international market, which also affects the stability of our currency. Now, so if the Council of State, by interacting with the various agencies and stakeholders, are able to come out with an action plan that would, one, look at how government can support businesses that are wholly hinged on the importation of these goods, but also even moving a bit further to look at how we can start looking at a whole restructuring of the economy. Over the weekend, I was having this conversation about the city, which has become quite a topic nowadays because of the stability of this currency itself. And I think that it was established that really we can't keep doing the same thing over and over again, regardless of what you say politically. I mean, this is economics, you understand? So when it comes to political commentary and all of those things, and political debates, you can say all sorts of things. But I don't see how we can be able to maintain a stable city if we don't come together consentedly to say that, listen, this is what we want to do to restructure our economy. That insatiable appetite to consume everything imported would have to be stemmed in a way. One, how do we do that? By starting to look at products and things that we can actually produce locally, consume locally, and even create a system that will be able to export these products. Otherwise, what we do normally is that even the actions that have been taken over the period where some monies are pumped into the economy, which actually has a certain interim effect. But essentially what tends to happen is that the more dollars that is pumped into the economy, the speculators will mop it up over a few weeks or months, right, in anticipation for another increase. You understand? So what happens is that the effect itself becomes temporary. But if you look at it from a more strategic standpoint, and we say that this is what we want to do as a country, we've had conversations surrounding rice, importation, and other things that, as far as I'm concerned, the very first day that we are pragmatic and strong about it, we can start developing a local rice industry if we want. But this conversation surrounding the import duties and all that becomes extremely sensitive because you also have businesses and businessmen who whole livelihoods are dependent on the importation of these goods and then, of course, selling them to the local market. So as we speak, it means that we have to look at it from a concurrent standpoint. How do we develop? How do we, for instance, tap into the government's One District, One Factory initiative, for instance, to make sure that all the investments that are coming in, all the factories that are coming in are establishments that would actually create import substitution industries so that we don't import as much? Are we able to create the right quality and standards so that we can actually produce these products in high quantities, benefit from the economies of scale that comes with it, and export, for instance, so that as we go along, we will start producing things locally, we will start consuming locally produced goods, so that this issue to do with the dollar and the cedi and how it's actually essentially open to the exigencies of the world market becomes a thing of the past. Again, even apart from that, making sure that whilst we get to that point, we have a long-term strategy for our oil and gas sector, for instance. So this whole idea that over the last 30 years or so, we haven't been able to, one, either improve the capacity of TOR, for instance, to be able to refine our crude, or even if TOR, for one reason or the other, has become obsolete, then let's create a new entity or something, and we position TOR to be able to do so. So that, because we have the advantage of now being able to produce crude locally, the amount of money that we actually use to import the finished product will be reduced. That becomes a more strategic conversation. But, I mean, on this particular issue, I back the Council of State by taking the initiative. I think that even during the President's interaction with the media, even went as far as to suggest that there are calls to make Ghana an duty-free country. He made that call, and that there are consultations going on. As to how that fits into a long-term strategic plan, I'm sure that the economic management team and other experts will take a look at that.
Okay. Felix, so the Council of State has gone round, spoken to the finance minister, spoken to several stakeholders. The key thing is how potent the recommendations will be in reducing these taxes.
All right. I mean, the president is entitled to hold any number of meetings that he so pleases, or any number of consultations that he so desires. The reality is that the fullness of time has exposed him and the MPP as not possessing any extraordinary abilities to manage the economy or the affairs of the nation, as they promised in 2016. I mean, we all remember the rather haughty, deeply exaggerated claims about their competence and abilities, and how they were going to ensure that the exchange rate remains stable, how they were going to ensure that import duties were reduced, how they were not going to borrow, but were going to be able to mobilize domestic resources to develop the nation, and what have you. All of that has turned out to be empty talk, and the reality on the ground has badly exposed them. To begin with, all the problems that we are having now have stemmed from their own policies and interventions. The astronomical increases in import duties, which is the subject of the work of the Council of State, stems directly from government policy. They have introduced 2 new measures. There's one they call the benchmark system, which has completely changed the way in which duty is assessed and calculated. And then there's a cargo tracking notes, which GUTA and other importing organizations have strongly kicked against and indicated that it has led to huge increases in import duty assessments. You recall in 2017 how the finance minister played to the gallery, standing in parliament and claiming that import duties were going to be reduced, and how importers at Abosoka and elsewhere leapt for joy and were expectant of massive drops in the rate of import duties, only to have a situation where import duties go up. In some instances, they say that it has gone up by as much as 75%. And this has considerably undermined their business and left them no option than to pass on the cost to you and I, and we are suffering for it. So you don't need the Council of State to meet the president for him to know that his own policies have resulted in the increases in import duties, and so he should simply do something about them. He should simply reduce them, take away those policies that have led to the increases. There's been enough
in the back of revenue mobilization.
Again,
the revenue.
Speaking about revenue, the president was fully aware that revenue needed to be mobilized in 2016 when he went ahead to claim that he could mobilize that revenue without increasing taxes. You also recall the song and dance they made about taxation and how they pilloried the then NDC government and insisted that they could manage affairs better without increasing taxes. Today, because of their direct imposition of tax, people are suffering. They have increased VAT by 5%. And that has led to an increase in the cost of production for businesses and manufacturers, who have then passed it on to you and I. And that is why we have had huge increases in the price of goods and commodities. In addition to that, they've introduced the luxury car tax, which compels one to pay between 1,000 to 2,000 Ghana cedis if you have a vehicle with an engine capacity of above 2.99 cc. And this is also leading to very, very serious problems for you and I, those of us who have cars and have to renew our roadworthy certificates annually. They've introduced a number of taxes as well. Look, the special import levy, they promised that they were going to remove it. They've left the 2% component, and that rakes in about 85% of the revenue that tax is supposed to bring in. The National Fiscal Stabilization Levy, which was introduced in 2013, but which had a sunset clause, which said that by December 31st, 2017, it should go. They've retained it, and so it is essentially a new tax. If you roll over a tax, it is a new tax. So they have introduced that.
But the others that they reduce, the financial transaction taxes, it doesn't.
Eric, you like it. It's not right. You do that. I keep quiet for you. And all you do is start me. Look, if you check their manifesto, I think page 17 or so, they promised that they were going to reduce corporate tax from 25% to 20%. In the 2017 budget, the finance minister pleaded for time. He said that they would do that in 2018. In the 2018 budget, he said he had deferred that to 2019. In the 2019 budget, he said nothing about it. So it remains at 25%, despite having promised that it will go to 25%. If you add up all of these, that is what accounts for the steep increases in import duties and taxes that people are talking about. Again, look at the depreciation of the cedi. And I'm surprised that it is not one of the subjects that the Council of State is interested in to discuss with the president. Look at the depreciation of the cedi. Look at the noise that Dr. Baumia and the president made about the depreciation of the cedi. And indeed, they actually reduced the entire management of the economy or the assessment of its health to the exchange rate. According to Dr. Baumia, if you are in doubt about the competence of those managing the economy, check the exchange rate. He said that you can do all the propaganda you like in the world, but the exchange rate will expose you. Today, the exchange rate has exposed him, President Akufo-Addo, and the entire MPP government as persons who do not possess the wherewithal and know-how to manage the economy. So today, you need like 5.5 Ghana cedis to obtain a dollar. You need 7.2 or 7.3 Ghana cedis to obtain a British pound. And this is wreaking havoc on businesses and Ghanaian households. Finally, let's talk about the issue of borrowing. It is important because it dovetails into the overall management of the economy. These are people who came waxing lyrical about how they can manage the affairs of the country without borrowing. As for Dr. Bamia, he said he had worked at the Bank of Ghana, so he knew that we had resources in this country. We didn't need to borrow. And that borrowing was the lazy man's approach to economic management. Today, what have they done? They have ballooned our debt from 120 billion to 172 billion as of November 2017. 2018, I beg your pardon. And as I speak to you, our debt to GDP ratio, they mislead the public that our debt to GDP ratio has reduced from 73% to 58%. It's not true. It has actually increased from 55.6% in 2016 to almost 58%. So they have gotten it wrong with the economic management of this country. And they should simply admit it and stop wasting our time.
Right. Can you give me
just 5 seconds?
Yeah. Listen, this is a government. This is an NDC government that actually took us to the IMF.
You told me I was interrupting you. I'm grateful. I need to wrap up. Eric is a member of the NP. Phyllis Kwatio is a member of the NDC. Stay with us. There's more coming up on the show.
Which one is that to GDP in terms of interest? No, there's no indicator. There's no indicator like that.
Alright, we're celebrating Ghana Month there, and as we see we saw there, they took music from Ghana to Africa and to the rest of the wonderful world. Guess what? Throughout this month of March, you're going to be singing a lot more there. Let me say a happy birthday to our own Dr. Nanama Addo. It's her birthday today. Also to Elom Wemega, it's your birthday today, and in Shiraba Papabi Patling, it's your birthday. If it's your birthday as well, we celebrate you, we love you, and you are in good company. Now, let's talk about special education needs. I'm sure you know we've been talking about persons with disability and how we're taking care of them educationally. I've been joined by Atanya Micha. He's a sign language man, so you can see him sitting right close to me. And that's because we have Akushika Nukunu Deku. She's a paralegal team member of the FIDA Ghana, and Festus Long Mate is with the Ghana National Education Coalition campaign. Good morning. Okay. Good morning. I got it right. Absolutely. Great. So let's start with you, Festus. Give me an overview of the talk we've been engineering on this platform, for example. Is it yielding any dividends for people like Akushika?
Yeah, I would say, as we speak now, we are making the effort to get people to understand the need to include everybody in society.
Okay.
And as we speak, significant progress has been made. Yeah, we still need to do more. Yeah.
Anyway, Aku, it says significant inroads have been made. Do you agree?
Yes. Not only me. Okay. Some agree, but some don't agree.
Okay.
For now, I see there is increment in policies and things are going on well. It's helpful, but for the deaf, it's somehow difficult.
Let's talk about the special needs, requisite skills, capacity, competences of the teachers who have to instruct children, for example, in the schools. Is it your opinion, Aku, that they are well, trained in that position?
No, I would say no. It's very bad.
It's very bad?
Yeah. Many people find it very difficult to adapt the deaf way. So now some of the deaf can't do what the hearing people do because some of the teachers don't understand whatever goes on between the deafs and the hearing. So it's a big problem. Because the teachers themselves don't know how they would train the deafs, and they would be saying the sign language is for only the deafs, which is wrong. So it would be good the government establish a training center for all teachers.
Right.
So that they focus in encouraging persons with disability, especially the deaf.
Right. Thank you. So, Festus, the quality of education is critical in this matter. If you listen to what Aku is telling us now, we need to have those who have requisite training for persons with special needs. And then sometimes you find that teachers who are generally trained cannot cross over into the special needs block. But then you find children with special needs in the same class with everybody else. Why is that so?
I think that's why we are calling on government to train more special need teachers to be able to adapt to the needs of every child in the classroom.
Okay.
Yeah. We are advocating that instead of pushing the child or forcing the child to adapt to the demands of the teacher or the teaching, we are asking, like I said earlier on, that let us get the teachers trained. Let's get them trained so that they can adapt to the needs of the to every child.
Okay.
Now, in addition, I think the fundamental problem currently has to do with in the case of the deaf, for instance, has to do with sign language interpreters.
Okay.
Yeah. We lack sign language interpreters, and it is affecting their access to, let's say, justice, access to healthcare, and so on and so forth. So I think that to get this problem fundamentally solved, we need to get more teachers trained to know, we need to get more sign language interpreters trained.
Atanya Biche is here this morning. So why don't we? He is available. They are not in large numbers, or people are not interested. What's the problem?
Yeah, I don't think it is people who are not interested, but I think it is the motivation to get people to be ready to be trained and employed to take up the challenge or support to bridge that gap that is existing between the hearing impaired person and their hearing counterparts.
I need some information from you. How many are you now in Ghana in terms of sign language interpreters?
For now, I can't say the number, but some of us have been at Institute of Education.
Okay.
Which we are doing sign language and interpretation.
Okay.
Sign language is on it, then interpreting to it. But most people sign, so basically, they call themselves to be interpreters because they know language. But sign language is something on it. Interpreting to is something on it. So now, Ghana National Association of the Deaf have selected some of interpreters in Ghana, some from part of region, and they have been at University of
So you have education back now. You're being trained as a teacher?
For University of Cape, we are being as qualified interpreters.
So you know, for example, teachers, forming our teachers, we have a certain course that allows them to be able to instruct the students who have hearing impairment.
Yeah, I think so. The problem is now the teachers think sign language and English are the same.
Okay.
But it's different. Sign language is a language on its own.
Okay.
And then English too is language on its own. So they need to be trained on sign language and how they would communicate. And then there is a big problem. We have teachers who can sign, but the problem is they sign exact words as the speaker.
Ah, okay. What's wrong with that?
Sign language is like the local language. As we speak Chi, Fanti, and then English too is different. So if you understand whatever you are doing, it will be simple for you to explain.
Okay, so if I make a statement, you will not sign the exact words, but you will paraphrase it and explain. That's how it's done.
Example would be I'm going to school to be in English. But if I'm signing, I'll sign me go school.
Ah, okay.
To make clear understanding.
It's just like the French English.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
beautiful.
So sign language is different, and then English.
Let me come to Aku. Aku, please. So the role of the teacher, in highlighting the role of the teacher, because that's the fulcrum around which this runs. Have you been satisfied with how the teacher has been highlighted in all of this, solving this problem?
It's better teachers must confess and then accept, have a new...
Okay, speak up for me a bit.
Okay, so it's not easy to do that. As comparing with a hearing child, training a deaf child and a hearing child is different. It's not the same. Because sign language itself is not English language. And then it's the same as the local language.
Where would you place the problem? Is it individual, is it interpersonal, or is it a systemic failure? Where would you place the problem?
For me, I would say it's a systematic failure.
Okay, let's get this off from Aku. Where would you place the problem?
Now I'm sharing my experience.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
When I was in a primary school in Koforidua,
okay,
we had inclusive education. We have deaf and then hearing people. Our teachers never had time for we the deaf students.
They were always left behind.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. In classroom, we have 2 teachers, one for the hearing and then the other for the deaf students. So the problem was when we are in the classroom and then a work is being given, we are all given equal time, which is not good to be.
Right.
They
needed more time to be able to do their work.
The way they act is different from the hearing people.
Right. Yeah. Right. Wow, that's unfortunate. So it's a systemic problem. Festus, how do we solve this problem?
With this problem has affected a lot of deaf today.
Wow, so they have been left behind.
Yeah.
Festus,
how
do we solve this problem?
Yeah, now we are talking about inclusive.
Right.
No one must be left behind. Yeah, I think that in the meantime, it will be very good if we take up the challenge to train more sign language interpreters. I mean, so that we can engage them in the institutions, both in the schools and also at the health centers. It is also good to mention that government should make the effort to add sign language training in our curriculum at the basic level, so that before the child grows, at least the child can understand how to sign, and that alone will promote inclusion for persons who have hearing and then speech challenges. Yeah.
Aku, let me come to you finally. You're female, so I get that you would want to have babies of your own if you already don't have. Let's talk about sexual reproductive health. If you get into a consulting room, for example, with a doctor, or you go to an antenatal or postnatal, whichever it is there usually a sign language interpreter that is able to explain things to you?
No, I've never gone with a sign language interpreter.
So the hospital doesn't have it?
So, yes.
You need to speak up for me.
The hospital doesn't have.
The hospital doesn't have it too?
Yeah.
How does it make you feel when you go to seek help? The doctor cannot understand you. There's nobody there to explain what's happening to you.
I feel good when the doctor respects me. Sometimes I write and the doctor too also writes. So
okay. So there's that.
Writing.
But so that's because you can write. You're educated. What if you can't write? What if you couldn't have written anything?
It would be a big problem for me.
So on a worst case scenario, somebody who is not educated, who gets into the consulting room, meets the doctor, has a medical problem. The doctor cannot understand the person. So what kind of treatment will go to that person? I'm just curious to know.
It's better a deaf person goes with that person. A deaf person who can write.
Okay.
So when the other deaf sign, he also write to the doctor.
Wow. That will be a tall order. Would you recommend that hospitals have their own sign interpreters?
Yes, I wonder, but the deafs themselves must be involved.
Okay. They must be involved.
Yeah.
I thank you very much. I'm grateful. Unless you have any closing thoughts to share, I should like to hear from you, Aku.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. TV3 viewers. I'm happy to be here this morning. My name is Akuzika Nokoludeku. I'm a member of the paralegal team of FIDA Star Ghana. And then I'm a member of Ghana National Association of the Deaf. My advice to all, especially the deaf's parents, is when your child becomes deaf, never think that your child have a problem. They are human beings. They have the same equal right as everybody. If something happens to your child, if your child happens to be a disabled person, never send your child to the pastor. For the pastor to pray and then giving anointing oils and directions, that wouldn't solve the problem. So with that, it wastes the education of the deaf or the disabled child. Some start school by the age of 15, which is late, which is not good.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm most grateful. Atanya Miche, I'm grateful. Atanya Miche has been very resourceful this morning. He's a sign language interpreter trying to bridge the gap between myself and Aku here. I'm sure Festus also has been helped by Atanya Miche. Grateful for your time. Akushika Nukunu Teku is a paralegal team member of FIDA Ghana. She's also a member of the Association of Persons with Disability. And Festus Longmate is with the Ghana National Coalition on Education campaign. Festus, thank you. Aku, thank you. And Atanya Minja, thank you. This conversation is being made possible by Star Ghana with funding from Danida, European Union, and UK Aid. We'll see you after the break with some more here on Newday. Stay with us. Anyway, happy birthday to you, Shira Papabi Papling. It's your birthday. Dr. Nana Majiman here at TV3 Newday. It's your birthday as well. Doc, sweet doctor, and Elon Womega. Yesterday was the 90th birthday of an ardent viewer of this show. To Nana Abrahima is Mrs. Abebio, Nyaniba Estate, and this is from your Adai family and from all of us here at TV3. We love you, Grandma. Happy birthday to you, Mrs. Abebio. 90 years. No be small thing. Good morning to you, Dr. Wejo Asewe Abo of the University of Ghana Business School. But let's turn to this gentleman whose song we just saw, Ojigamia Fabechi. Then we saw Ampon San. There's a new one coming up, and you should know about it. Nah. What's up, bro? Good to see you. Looking good. How's business? Business is running. Charlie, maybe I should do. The CD doesn't disturb you. Music and business, that's what you're doing now. How do you pair the two in these times when you have to stay relevant musically, but you also have to be financially independent business-wise? How do you manage the two?
I think first of all is your mindset. You have to tune your mind that you want to make money, and you also want to take good care of yourself. Because your health is very important. In this situation, going to the site, going here, doing music at the same time, so stressful. You understand? It's first of all the mindset, and you put a goal that, okay, you want to achieve something, and achieving something is through hard working. Basically, if you have these things, trust me, you can move with it.
Has it treated you right?
Definitely.
Music?
Definitely, yes.
Was it difficult getting into business? Or tilapia business, and was it difficult getting in there?
Getting into business was not difficult because I'm a humble person and I'm a fast learner. And if you're humble, you're a fast learner, and you are ready to serve in life, you can get there. Because these people that know all these things, if you are not humble, you are not ready to serve them. You see yourself, you are bigger than them. They will not show you what goes into all this stuff. So if you're humble, there is this, I can't wait to say it, you understand? You have to be humble, serve people.
You need to come to that level, and then you're able to go. But you've been talking about a lot of business, telling your friends, your colleague musicians that, look, you can't survive on music alone. You need to find something to patch it. Have they been listening to that advice?
No, it's not about surviving alone. You have to look for something. Music alone can survive you in this country. If you have, I've been saying this, if you have a business manager or a marketer in your team, music can feed you every time. It's not about you getting that big banger before music will feed you. I don't know if you get me. If you have a marketing team, that marketer in your team or that business manager will walk into TV3. Okay, this is my artist, he's called Nana. We want you to do this thing, a walk with Nana in Kaswa. TV3 partners Nana to do a walk in Kaswa. There are companies that sell water, energy drinks, and all this stuff. They could come on board, partner, and you could make some money.
But so why did you get into business that music alone could feed?
Okay, what pushed me there? I'm so energetic, I'm strong, and I love businesses. I love businesses personal. You understand? So that attracted business to me, and that made me move into different kind of businesses.
Interesting. Freeze.
Yeah.
That's a brand new one.
Yeah.
Why that title?
It's a dance song we recorded in the studio. Myself, Skillish produced. Screwface walked into the studio.
Screw.
Yeah, so we were recording. It was like, I was like, Freeze, they can watch you by heart, and we just created it.
Freeze.
Yeah.
New watch you by heart.
Yeah, and I have these 3 boys under the money making movement. Starface, Don Miller, and Gazi Boy. They were on the song, so I featured them on the song.
Freeze. New Audio by Heart. New Audio by Heart is gone, which means so we can dance anyhow. Take a look at the video. Freeze.
Freeze. Staff is sessing myself. Mantaka takarawa, mantaka komika takarawa, mantaka takarawa, mantaka gowaga takarawa, mantaka takarawa, mantaka komika takarawa, mantaka takarawa, mantaka gowaga takarawa. Obia banya na dasajuweni, obia banya na chebijuweni.
So what went into the what do you call it? The setting. It's rural and all of that. Pounding fufu, there's pito, there's bukutu, everything. Why?
Okay. Every time I do songs, I try to like think of my brand a lot and forget about that. People that are watching also need some type of stuff.
Okay.
So this is not a genre of music I do a lot. You heard I do most high life, hip life, but I had to move to get that dance feel. So getting a video like that, you can't put on your swag and be doing this. You still have to get your swag in it, but you have to meet the people so that it's a dance song.
Saniwojo.
So you cannot do and doing something else. You get me right? So we had to scout location. I did the location scouting myself.
Oh, you did yourself?
Yeah, because I had something I was looking at.
So where was this shot?
This one was shot around the Bush Road. We shot one around the Bush Road. We shot one around the site. So like different places.
Different places. But you went to choose it yourself.
Yeah, I saw it myself.
Amazing, interesting. And how's it doing so far, social media and on the channels?
Perfectly. We just dropped it on Monday. And today's just a week today. And it's doing perfectly
it's doing great. So where do you want this song to go? Because I see some crazy dancing there. You want the dance to trend?
Yeah, it's a new dance, and the dance is it's a freeze challenge. So you could just dance, tag me on my social media handles, NARNA Music, and you stand a chance of winning something.
Okay, so you're doing this promo for people now.
Yeah, it's out. It's out. The song is out and it has a challenge. The winner will make me at Woods Inn. We'll have a dinner with me and I have a package for that person.
I see. Interesting. So you go out there, freeze, Koniwa by heart. But you're also a chief.
Yeah, in Kaswa.
Interesting. How's it going?
By His grace.
Are they gravitating towards you?
Yeah, we are all together, especially our godfather, the main chief of Kaswa. Sani Seydou Yusuf Mohammed III is like a father of all.
Okay.
You know, he's been so good to us, and not like the whole town. Zico, Pato, 3 Million Entertainment, Ajay 4040, Adolf Hitler. He has a Hitler family. You know, Akashi Nana Supijin or the Ghazi Empire, Choral. Like the whole town, everybody.
There.
You understand? K-Pono, like everybody. You know, it's a family, it's a unit, and I respect everybody for holding me down. Everybody in the town, you understand? And also big up to the 3 artists under the money making movement: Don Miller, Starface, and Gazibo. Watch out, a lot is coming up.
Money making movement. I see. MMM.
Yeah, and this Salah we partnering with you guys to do one of the biggest Rama Fest in Kaswa.
We will run it down.
Huge,
don't worry,
so
we'll run it.
Just
we'll
watch
run
out.
It. But in the wake of the #1 thing, you were very vocal. Has your stance changed?
No.
It hasn't changed. You still believe that? What's on your mind right now?
Definitely things will work out. Definitely. We pray so. Yeah.
Did you invest with Men's Gold?
I don't want to put it out, but you know, let's leave it now. Where it is, let's keep it there.
You had some very strong words to share that, look, we are rallying the youth to go on a demonstration, and you still stand by those words?
By Men's Gold?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bro, if your team be here, you know, go let the thing go down.
Right.
Secondly, aside your thing being there, maybe this is yours, it's going down. You will not let it go down. 2, relationship with the person too. A lot went into it, but now if it's with Yoko, let's respect it and keep it there.
Okay.
You understand? And we're all watching where it's going. Yeah, but we pray for the positive direction. That's it. Yeah.
So you know the whereabouts of #1 now?
We're on air. It's not everything we could disclose.
So you don't want to say it now.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear you. Nana.
Yeah.
Freeze.
What
by heart.
No,
okay. Hold on. I want to check out something on tilapia, and then we'll do the freeze dance. You have to teach me the dance. I want to see. So this is Galamsey front to special Kwesi Peter, and tilapia has put it out there. It says schoolboy. It looks like a nurse. Looks like the special prosecutor. It looks like Mr. Bisu and one other person. It says schoolboy, and they're sharing tears. They're shedding tears there. Interesting thoughts there. Then there's another one that tilapia put out. I should like to show you now. If you go on to 3news.com, you can get all of them on your set. Let's see if we have some messages for Ako Nana. Sorry, Nana. Let's see if we have a few messages. Not yet. The system hasn't picked any yet. But there's also another cartoon by tilapia that you should see. This is it. So it talks about the 2020 Oslo video. So that's it. MPP. Somebody in an MPP shirt. Okay. Okay. With a camera filming secretly. And here you have what looks like the chairman of the National Peace Council being dragged by the tie. It looks like the chairman of the NDC and the EC boss there up there. So interesting days in Ghana. And that's what tilapia says. It says 2020 Oslo undercover recording. If you go on to 3news.com, there are some more exciting tapes there that you could see and cartoons there as well. But it's been a prompt, pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. Nana, you need to get up, so we play Freeze or Baju by Heart. Or Baju by Heart. We'll see you tomorrow. I know that if you can think it and your heart can believe it, only you can achieve it. Please pump up the music. Pump up the music. Okay, so teach me.
Freeze. Obaju by heart, 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 Oyeshika, Obaju by heart, Obeshika, Obaju by heart, Obiajoge, Obaju by heart, Agutu, Obaju by heart, Kaswa, Obaju by heart.